The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with tension as representatives from dozens of alien species gathered to witness humanity's latest humiliation. Towering reptilian Zeryons, ethereal Sylvans, and crystalline Veronians occupied their places in the vast amphitheater. At the center of the chamber stood Captain Daniel Carter, humanity's envoy, dwarfed by the imposing presence of the Zeryon king. The humans, the king sneered, his voice reverberating through the chamber, have always claimed to value compassion and resilience. Today, we shall see the limits of their tolerance. His words dripped with mockery, each syllable drawing murmurs of amusement from the crowd. Daniel remained composed, his hands clasped behind his back. He was used to this derision. Humanity was still a fledgling member of the Galactic Alliance, often dismissed as a primitive species. Today, however, the disdain felt more personal. Captain Carter, the king continued, I offer you a challenge, a test of your so-called humanity. I present to you my daughter, Lyra. The chamber's holoprojector activated, displaying a hologram of a young woman with striking features. Her pale, scaled skin hinted at her Zeryon lineage, while her delicate human eyes betrayed her mixed heritage. The audience erupted into laughter. She is an embarrassment to my lineage, the king declared coldly. Neither fully Zeryon nor human, she has no place among my people. Cast her out. You, Captain, may take her as your ward, if your species is as noble as you claim. The laughter grew louder, echoing through the chamber. Many council members smirked, certain the human would refuse this public humiliation. After all, who would willingly take in the king's unwanted child? Daniel stepped forward, his calm gaze sweeping the assembly. Your Majesty, he began, his voice firm, humanity does not see life as disposable. No one is unwanted among my people. If you are willing to discard your own child, then I will gladly accept her into my care. The chamber fell silent. Even the king appeared momentarily taken aback by the human's defiance. The silence was soon replaced by a mixture of incredulous laughter and murmurs of disbelief. You misunderstand, human, the king said, his tone laced with menace. This is not an honor. It is a burden. Perhaps to you, Daniel replied, meeting the king's gaze without flinching. But to me, she is an opportunity, a chance to prove that our strength lies not in power or fear, but in compassion. Lyra was brought into the chamber, her posture rigid and her expression one of defiance. She barely glanced at Daniel as she stood beside him, her fists clenched. It was clear she viewed this arrangement as a punishment. The king's voice boomed one final time. Then take her, human. Let the galaxy witness your folly. Daniel placed a gentle hand on Lyra's shoulder, but she flinched away. Ignoring the jeers of the council, he led her out of the chamber. As the doors closed behind them, the laughter echoed, but Daniel's resolve only grew stronger. Lyra sat in silence, her claws tracing absent patterns on the table in her quarters. The days aboard the Endeavor had shifted something within her, though she would never admit it aloud. Daniel's unrelenting kindness and the crew's hesitant but growing acceptance gnawed at the walls she'd built around herself. But none of it changed the fact that she didn't belong, neither here nor in her father's world. Her thoughts were interrupted by a sharp knock. One of Daniel's senior officers, Lieutenant Mira Hayes, stepped inside, holding a small device in her hand. We found something, Mira said, her tone curt but not unkind. It was hidden in your belongings. Lyra frowned. I don't keep secrets, she said, her voice defensive. This one isn't yours, Mira replied, placing the device on the table. It's encrypted, but the tech has Zeryon signatures all over it. Care to explain? Lyra stared at the device, her claws digging into the table's surface. I don't know what it is, she admitted honestly. I didn't pack anything when my father handed me over. Mira looked skeptical but nodded. We're decoding it now. You should see what's on it when it's ready. Hours later, Lyra stood in the ship's war room alongside Daniel and Mira as the device's data unfolded before them. What began as confusion quickly turned into shock. The images displayed were old but unmistakable, her mother, a human woman, standing beside the Zeryon king. There was no hostility in their stance, only unity. "That's my mother," Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. I never knew what she looked like." The next files were more damning. Communications between Zeryon advisors revealed the truth. Lyra's existence was never an accident or a disgrace. Her mother had been part of a diplomatic mission, and her union with the king was intended to solidify peace between their species. But the political fallout had been too great. A hybrid child threatened the Zeryon hierarchy and the Galactic Council's balance of power. "They erased her," Daniel said, his voice grim. "Your father and the Council both. They buried this to maintain their control." Lyra's knees felt weak. All her life, she had believed she was an abomination, a stain on her father's honor. Now she understood. She wasn't discarded because she was unwanted. She was hidden because she was dangerous to the fragile status quo. "What does this change?" she asked bitterly, her voice laced with anger and sorrow. "They'll still laugh at me. They'll still call me a mistake." "It changes everything," Daniel said firmly. "This isn't just your story. It's proof that the Council manipulates entire species to maintain their power. Your existence is more than they feared. It's proof of what's possible when we work together." Lyra looked at him, her eyes burning with a mixture of emotions. For the first time, she saw not just a human but an ally, someone who believed in her potential when she couldn't. "They will pay for this," she said, her voice steady. "I will make them see me, not as a mistake but as their future."